What is something that was acceptable 100 years ago which is unacceptable today? Burst or so vertical bar. It was deemed a miracle fiber in its day. The stuff was used everywhere. Taking your gun to school. That was actually 50 years ago. My father talks about taking his rifle to school, putting it in his locker, and taking it out after school for gun club, where they shot targets out behind the football field with a teacher. Stopping by a friend / family member / neighbor's house unannounced without asking ahead of time if they feel like having company. A lot of the great cities of today had massive slums 100 years ago. In London it was common for poor families to rent a single room in a terrace house. In Hong Kong Kowloon was covered in shanties, and in New York there were shanties in Central Park. Buying dynamite and ammonia nitrate at the local hardware store. I got to hear some interesting stories of how my great uncles cleared tree stumps to make way for crop fields. Thinking the Milky Way was the entirety of the universe. Hubble didn't verify the existence of other galaxies outside the Milky Way until 1924. Smoking and drinking while pregnant. Narrator, he was actually born in 79, but his brain is damaged. Putting lead in everything. Slapping kids at school. I can proudly say I was the last kid that was legally beaten with a paddle at my elementary. Our principal had a wooden paddle hanging in his office and he could only whoop kids that their parents signed a consent form at the beginning of the year. They finally banned it when I was in 5th grade and I was the last vertical bar because I asked to go to the bathroom to moo vertical bar. Later diagnosed with IBS, but yeah, just smack him till he doesn't need to use the bathroom lol. Putting belladonna in your eyes to get a doe effect. Radioactive wallpaper. Doing heroin to cure a cough or a cut. Opium. They gave that shit to you for everything. Have a headache, here's some opium. Just had a foot cut off, here's some opium. Just had a baby, here's some opium. Wanna get that prostitute feeling good before you take her upstairs, give her some opium. WTF. Smoking literally everywhere. Motherfuckers probably tried smoking whilst swimming. An icebox in the kitchen with ice regularly delivered to the house instead of an electric refrigerator. https n wikipedia org/wiki/icebox/media/file. Iceboxes. JPG. Using radioactive element to make bright green stuff. Lynching. It was popular enough that you could get lynching postcards, complete with a graphic photo of the murder, going into the 1920s. This is despite the US Postal Service banning them in 1908. Remember, we're talking about 1922 Herero, not 1850. Not graduating high school. Edit. Thanks for all the upvotes and the unexpected and wholesome comments about your grandparents and great-grandparents. I really enjoyed reading them after a long day at work. Equals. Pushing small children up a chimney or down mines. Traveling by horse on the highway. Institutionalization of women. Usually by her parents or husband. For pretty much any reason they thought up, because she was difficult, and labeling her hysterical. Having sex with people born in the 1800s. Nowadays you'd get asked to leave the cemetery. Beating your wife and kids. Naming your kid Adolf. Marry your daughter off to the highest bidder in certain cultures. Look, my daughter tells me she wants to be treated like a princess and then gets mad when I try and marry her off to strengthen my alliance with France. These kids these days. New movies without sound or color. Licking radium to make wristwatches. Tying your giraffe to a lamppost or telephone pole. Atlanta. Edit. Wore the wrong tie. Sending 7 yo kids to the store by themselves, or let them roam freely after dark. Horse shit. Everywhere. Not that it's unacceptable now, but back in the 20s they would call alcoholic beverages giggle water, which I think is super cute. Edit. I did know no alcohol was illegal back then in the US. Should added that it's a Rus thing BC. I don't think the Dutch ever called alcohol gichelwater. Thanks for the added history lesson lol. Racial segregation of 100 types. Including property covenants that prohibited the sale of a home to a non-white family. Smoking in pubs. Abandoning your family and moving a town over to start a new family. Most teens did not attend school. Instead they labored in factories or fields. Fun fact. By 1922, many states had child labor laws forbidding workers under a certain age, usually 12 to 14. This created two big social problems. 1. Bored and unsupervised 10-year-old hooligans. 2. Poor families putting their kids to work anyway, but under the table for shady employers. The solution? Compulsory school attendance through 8th grade. Salmon and mayonnaise jello for dinner. Putting cocaine in soft drinks. Asking for methamphetamine at the pharmacy. Swastikas. They went from being a religious icon in many Eurasian religions/cultures to being perhaps the most recognizable sign of hate. Eugenics. Hitting/beating/raping your wife. Spitting into those things I forgot what they're called when you walk into a bar. They're called the same thing when you walk out of a bar too. Not necessarily unacceptable per se, but asking for directions. Like, you ask about a location or a suggestion for places to eat or have fun in an area you are traveling through, and I always get a "don't you have a phone?" Yes, I do. But it doesn't know the area like a local. Honestly, talking to people without a real reason can go on to that category as well. Putting infant and toddler boys in dresses. If you have any older photos of your great-grandfathers, I can almost guarantee he was in dresses as a small growing boy. Buying baby and toddler pants when your boys were growing rapidly was wasteful. So you put them in a dress that you could let out as he got taller. Sending your wife to the doctor to let her be masturbated by the doctor to relieve her hysteria. Openly displaying a swastika. Edit. Because people keep commenting it, I know it was a harmless spiritual symbol until co-opted by the Nazis. It's almost like that's why I chose it as a perfect example of ops question. Budja sugar. Sleeping in the same bed as people you are not at all intimate with. Men marrying teenage girls. Segregation. What was your favorite comment? Let us know below. And remember to like and subscribe, it helps a lot.